Hello, I'm Chrissy Seaton. You know, we all have free will, and with that free will, we make choices. And those choices or decisions that we make, they will give rise to consequences, and some are good and some are bad. Choices we make today are certainly going to affect tomorrow. And all those choices come with consequences. So the pattern we develop in making small choices that we make perhaps daily, that will influence the larger, more serious choices or decisions that we arrive at in the future. Now, if we continue to make bad choices and decisions, then our choices today are largely going to determine what we become in the future. What we have to remember is that we have to keep Hashem at the centre of our lives and certainly at the centre of our decision making. The 7 Noahide laws, they really give us all the guidelines to determine our choices that we make in life, be they small or large. And I always believe that Hashem provides those tools to us, those tools for discernment and evaluation. All those things accompany us through life. The 7 Noahide laws give us a blueprint for how we deal with our decision making, how we determine what sort of a decision that will turn out to be and what are the consequences. So Hashem in his divine wisdom knows exactly what we as humans are like, and we all need guidelines. We all need a how-to manual. And I think if we focus on the 7 Noahide laws and really think about them one by one, you would look through those and realise that there's really an answer for everything in there. There's an example, there's a description. There are all the things you need to help you make that wise choice or wise decision. And that, once you know what is required as a Noahide and what is commanded by God to us as Noahides, then that makes everything fall into place. It makes it sensible. It puts some little barriers and pathways there for us to think through things very clearly. And as I said before, those small choices that seem inconsequential at the time, but if we develop a bad habit, then that flows over into when we have to make a big decision. And that affects our principles and ethics in life, and it also affects those people that are around us. I want to give you a little example. This was a story that was told to me some time ago, and I just think it beautifully illustrates what I'm trying to say. And this example I'm giving you is in relation to the prohibition against theft. And the particular section of that I'm going to describe is where it talks about false measures, cheating or misinformation that's given. And this story took place just up the road from our farm, And there was a man who had ordered, a farmer, he had ordered a bag of corn from another farmer just down the road. And so sometime throughout the day, the farmer dropped the bag of corn off. And this gentleman, the buyer, decided that he would weigh it, and he was going to measure out some portions that he was going to feed out to stock. But when he weighed the bag, he discovered that there was 1 pound, imperial measure in those days, 1 pound extra of corn than he had paid for. He'd prepaid for the bag. So he very carefully measured and weighed out that extra pound of corn, and then charged his son to walk, I think it was approximately a mile, which is about 1.6 kilometres, back to that farm and return that corn that he had overweighed, overcalculated. It just boggles the mind, doesn't it? How beautifully he was actually abiding by those Noahide laws. He was not going to take advantage of his neighbour by keeping a pound of corn that he didn't rightfully pay for. And I come to know this story because that little boy that had to walk back with that pound of corn told me the story. And he said that set him a wonderful example in life, how important it is to be honest. And he said, my father made the right decision to return that pound of corn. He said he didn't think at the time because he didn't want to have to make the walk, but he understood fully the reason why. It was the correct thing to do. So you see how that one decision that father made affected in a good way the consequences that his son received as a result of that. So making wise choices, I believe, comes down to 3 steps. That's contemplation and prayer. What Noahide law does it relate to, if it does relate to one of them? And to determine the suitable or appropriate consequences that you require, or the outcome from the choice that you're making. And I'm sure if you looked in the Divine Code, you would find that there are just about answers or examples that you can relate to. And those actual prohibitions are on page 553 of the 3rd edition of the Divine Code. I just also want to remind you once again that on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Israel time, Devorah Sinton and myself co-host a session called The Power of Prayer. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click the like button, leave a comment, and remember those 3 steps for wise choices in your life. Please take care and God bless.